This is Coffee with God, and I am Father Jose. Let us begin this day with the Word of God and a short reflection.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 14, verses 13 to 21. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. When Jesus got the news, he slipped away by boat to an out-of-the-way place by himself. But unsuccessfully, someone saw him and the word got around. Soon, a lot of people from nearby villages walked around the lake to where he was. When he saw them coming, he was overcome with pity and healed their sick. Toward evening, the disciples approached him. "We're out in the country and it's getting late. Dismiss the people so that they can go to the villages and get some supper." But Jesus said, "There is no need to dismiss them. You give them supper." "All we have are 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they said. Jesus said, "Bring them here." Then he had the people sit down on the grass. He took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, lifted his face to heaven in prayer, blessed, broke, and gave the bread to the disciples. The disciples then gave the food to the congregation. They all ate their fill. They gathered 12 baskets of leftovers. About 5,000 were fed. The Gospel of the Lord.
Reflections on the Gospel according to St. Matthew chapter 14 verses 13 to 21. Today, the Church celebrates the memoria of the 17th century Saint Alphonsus Liguori, the founder of the Congregation of the Most Holy Redeemer, also known as the Redemptorists. He dedicated much of his time serving the poor and the needy in his community, as a priest caring for the spiritual needs of the people, being engaged and in touch with their plight and troubles. To run away from the disturbing and frustrating life situations is a natural human tendency. This is what we find in the response of the disciples, that the crowd was too large and time was too late and they were in a deserted place. They did not want to take up the burden of caring for such a multitude. So they suggest to Jesus, dismiss the crowds and let them find food for themselves. It looks quite normal to us because the disciples are our representatives who think and behave like us. While explaining this story as recorded in the Gospel according to John, Father Armellini said, Jesus sees the multitude, he sees the needs of the hungry. He gives a clear invitation to his disciples as well to look up from their little world, to give up their selfishness and become aware of the reality of hunger, miseries, sufferings, and violence. This is not the world that God wanted. Jesus experienced the hunger of humanity, not only for food, but for all the needs that must be satisfied to be fully human. The life of a sick person, or a lonely and abandoned person, or someone who lacks affection, the one who faces injustices, the homeless and the jobless, and the one who cannot build up a family. Such a life cannot be fully human. How to satiate all these forms of hungers of humanity? The disciples suggest that to care for the hungers of humanity is beyond their capabilities. It would be better if they go away and find their own food. This is the logic of the market. Sending them away would be the safest and convenient option for the disciples, but convenience is not a criterion in the world of Jesus. Could these poor peasants afford to buy food? Only those who have money and are capable of going in search of food could afford to buy it in the market. This is the survival of the strongest. Jesus teaches a different set of values, where turning away from the cry of the needy and running away from one's responsibilities are certainly not a Christian option. The miracle of feeding the 5,000 people teaches us one simple truth. The wealth or treasures that we have in our hands do not belong to us. Everything belongs to God, and we act as good administrators of the goods given to us.